Hi folks, back again. This is Bathrobe Chronicles number 25. I think it's 25. I've really gotten things goofed up here. But yeah, it's 25. And actually, this is, I guess, what you'd call a do-over. I taped this or filmed it or whatever you want to call it a few days ago. And when I watched it, well, I'll put it to you this way. I use the F word far too often. I was really ticked off. And, oh, by the way, the reason I glanced down here, this may well run over 10 minutes, so what I want to do is try and keep track of time, cut this one off and start part 2. But anyway, this is going to be about Bach Flowers, B-A-C-H, Bach Flowers. I've seen this fellow's name pronounced Batch, but I'm going to use Bach. Anyway, this stuff was started about, I guess, close to 100 years ago. And this fellow allegedly was a medical doctor, whatever. And as best I understand it, he well, let me back up. Let me start and tell you a story first. 2 or 3 years ago, I decided to treat myself to a nice lunch and read the latest book that I was reading at the time. And I only have a couple of 3 restaurants that I really like, and this is one of my favorite restaurants. So I'm there alone, of course, and I have my book, and I'm really looking forward to just sitting down, taking it easy, having this nice meal, reading my book, and having a heck of a good time. So I'm standing in line waiting to be seated, and someone calls out my name. I turn around, here's this fellow who I know. Don't know him all that well. We were never buds or anything like that, but okay, you know what's coming here. Yeah, I had to have lunch with him because, well, anyway, I ended up having lunch with him. Obviously, I really wanted to just go have lunch by myself, have my book, have a nice meal, and go from there. But I ended up having lunch with this fellow. He's a nice fellow. It has nothing to do with nice, not nice, or anything else. So anyway, we sit down, sipping some coffee, looking at the menu. We place our order. Then we sort of, briefly catch up. Oh, how are you doing? How are you doing? And how's your job? How's your wife, or what have you? And all this other kind of stuff. And the guy seemed almost giddy. I mean, just, I don't know, he's about to come out of himself or something. I said, well, what? I said, hey, gosh, what's going on? Well, he starts his story. Oh gosh, I just got back from my healer and had a first appointment, and the appointment was three and a half hours, and oh, it was great. And I'm thinking, what the hell have I gotten into here when I could be sitting here alone, reading a book, having a nice lunch? Make a long story sort of short. He went to his healer person, one of those, and he was so excited because this healer person took all this information, and he said to me, we, meaning the healer, we are going to work on Bach Flowers. And I'm thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, excuse me, I shouldn't have said that. My mom would strike me down if she heard me say something like that. But anyway, and I was just thinking, this is a hell of a way to spend my lunch. So anyway, he goes through all this baloney. Anyway, I'm getting back to what I was talking about initially about Bach Flowers. These things were dreamed up by this fellow, I don't know, close to 100 years ago. And evidently, at the time he dreamed this stuff up, I think he was going through his second divorce, and hey, maybe he was whacked out like the rest of us, who the hell knows. But he came up with this Bach flower stuff. Excuse me. He, checking the old watch here. He wandered around his yard And he came up with 30-some flowers. He had mentioned something about he saw this little drop of dew on one of the flowers and all this other business. Anyway, he came up with this Bach flower stuff, and he put the flowers in like water and brandy or some such thing. And it's not directly supposed to help you with physiological or physical problems, but it's supposed to help your emotional state or your mental health state, or whatever term you want to use. So he came up with all these concoctions. He soaked these things in water. I'm sure he did it some special way. In other words, if I went out and pulled some flowers out of my yard, I surely couldn't duplicate the old Bach flowers. Let me see here. I do have a few notes, or not a few notes, but I have some stuff to read here. Sorry I'm not better prepared. Anyway, basically what this guy's saying is that you, oh boy, I'm not well prepared today, not prepared at all, but anyway, I can't find the page I wanted. What he's saying is that for a given emotional state, or what have you, you know, there's a flower remedy that's going to take care of that. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm really not prepared, but hey, what the heck, huh? We'll stumble through this thing. Anyway, as I said, this fellow who I'd had lunch with was just about to come out of his skin, so to speak. He was so giddy with the fact that he and his healer were going to work on Bach flowers. Whatever in the heck work means. But here's just a sample of stuff. Chestnut bud. See? I'm not making this up. And this is from the Bach Center. Whoa. I mean, this isn't just, you know, any old kind of information. This is right from the source, Bach Center. Chestnut bud is for people who failed to learn the lessons of life. They may repeat the same mistakes over and over. For example, taking a succession of identical office jobs and being surprised to find one unfulfilling. Each one unfulfilling, excuse me. In other cases, they see others making a mistake and the results that arise, but then fail to apply this lesson to their own lives and go right ahead and make the same mistake themselves. Still with me? Dr. Bach said, excuse me, that it was good to move on and leave the past behind, but people in the chestnut bud state, following me, are almost always doing this too readily. I'm not doing well tonight. Too readily. They give so little thought to the past that they fail to learn its lessons and are so doomed to repeat their failures. Chestnut bud is the remedy to help them learn from the past and then move on to new experiences. Now imagine that. Chestnut bud. You're going to take this kind of stuff and it's going to turn your life around right away. Anyway, it goes on, and you know, each little thing, for instance, here's one, sweet chestnut, not chestnut bud, sweet chestnut, is a remedy for people who have reached the limits of their endurance, who have explored all avenues but see no way out of their difficulties, and who feel there is nothing left for them but annihilation and emptiness. Whereas people in a gorse state, G-O-R-S-E, have fallen into a state of hopelessness when there are actually possible solutions all around. The person is in a sweet chestnut state is genuinely at the end of the line. Theirs is appalling, final despair. The remedy helps people in this extreme state to remain masters of their lives and renew their hope and strength. And sometimes a way out may open even at this stage of life. Folks, I couldn't make this up. I'm not that bright. I'm not that intelligent. I'm not that creative. But basically what these folks are saying, this box stuff, oh heck, I've gone past the time I